bircher muesli traditionally gets made the night before and left in the fridge. I find that a little bit too heavy and slightly stodgy. So it's the same principles, but a lot lighter. First in, the yoghurt.
I think live and raw milk yoghurt are best. They're packed with calcium, enzymes and probiotics, which help your body absorb nutrients.
It's interesting, because the kids especially would prefer their muesli with milk, but the yoghurt, it's so much better for them. I like making it literally 10 minutes before I want to serve it, because it doesn't become stodgy. Yoghurt in, apple juice. That's a great way of sweetening the muesli. A couple of tablespoons in. Give that a little mix. Now, sprinkle in the oats. I like putting 2/3 in now to absorb and almost double in size. And the last third of oats in at the end.
Oats are low on the glycemic index, which means they slowly release energy to keep you going right through to lunch.
I quite like it when it just falls off the spoon. You can see, literally in seconds, it's got thicker. The rest of the oats in. So I've got different textures. Now, mix that up nicely. And it literally takes 3 or 4 minutes to put together. Just gonna get a dry pan on. Almonds, incredibly healthy. Toasting them, even better flavour. Flake them into the pan, lightly toast them. That gives a really nice sort of crunch to the top of the muesli. Roll them around the pan so they're evenly toasted. Out into a bowl. The exciting thing about putting your own muesli together is that you're in control. Blackberries, summer, raspberries, strawberries, and so it changes.
Berries don't just taste great. They're packed with antioxidants and vitamins C and K.
So just dot the top of your muesli with your blackberries. Generous on the blackberries. Sweetness, tartness, acidic. And then just sprinkle over your nice almonds. I quite like a lot of crunch on top, so be generous. That looks fantastic. Perfect way to start the day.
My quick bircher muesli doesn't just taste incredible, it makes you feel fantastic. It's my ultimate healthy breakfast. There really is no better way to start the day.
Big and bold. When I was living in France, I stayed there for 3 years. Once, twice a week, I treated myself to the most amazing, bold breakfast. And it started off with these beauties here. Merguez. Cheap, but incredibly tasty. Start off with a nice hot pan. Merguez in. It's a very spicy sausage. Doesn't need any help, doesn't need any chili. Just a touch of salt and pepper. You can smell the spice. They're starting to release all that wonderful oil, that flavour in there.
Add a couple of cloves of finely sliced garlic.
Spread the garlic across the pan. It instantly changes colour. Takes on this nice, dark, rich, golden colour. Now, take a little bit of the heat out with the parsley.
The stalks of soft herbs like parsley and coriander can be used to impart flavour during cooking, but the leaves should always be added just before serving to give maximum colour and fragrance.
And then finish that off with my capers. Amazing. Beautiful. Now, take your croissant. They're literally 24 hours old, so they're crispy on the outside. And just slice off the lid.
This recipe is a great way to use up any leftover croissants from the day before.
I used to cringe when I saw the French cooks throw away croissants. I used to cry thinking, oh my God, have you any idea what you're throwing away in terms of flavour? Whatever you do, do not wipe out that pan. Dunk your croissants, mopping up all that amazing flavour and caramelising the inside for that. Beautiful. And don't forget the lids. And then get your thumbs and go inside the croissant. All I want to do now is just create a little pocket and just manipulate the croissant. Now, this is where it gets exciting. Mix up the capers, the garlic, and the sausages. Look at the colour of that wonderful, delicious, flavoured oil. Now, some cheese, but not just any cheese. Fontina cheese is like the #1 cheese for grilling. And because it's a very rich cheese, you shave it thinner than you would a white truffle, but it gives a really nice saltiness and a light smoky flavour. A touch of pepper, a bit of salt. Place these big boys on the tray, literally 30 seconds. On the grill. Here we go. Nice. Crisp, packed full of flavour. Now top them. And that, for me, it's almost like being back in Paris. Except this time, I don't have to share them with the French.
My ultimate big and bold breakfast. Merguez and Fontina stuffed croissants, a great way to start the day.
I've never forgotten, I think I was about 6 years of age when Mum brought this huge tray of eggy bread to the table. And it was like, wow, Mum, we've died and gone to heaven. Start off with a slightly stale bread, 4 or 5 day old loaf left over. If it's a fresh bread, then it absorbs too much of the egg, so therefore it gets soggy and you never get it fried and crisp. And if you're not going to use it for breadcrumbs, eggy bread is a must. In France, they call it pain perdu, the lost loaf. Now, eggy bread is great on its own, but serving it with stewed apples is delicious. So the secret here, keeping the skins on. There's a lot of flavour in the skin, and also it stops the apple from breaking down too quickly. You get these nice chunks as opposed to a sort of apple puree. Now, get your pan nice and hot and sprinkle a couple of tablespoons of sugar. Take the sugar down to a light caramel. It's quite incredible how cheap it is to make this, and yet it was so filling.
If you haven't got apples, this recipe will work pretty much with any fruit you've got in.
Don't be scared to mix a pear and an apple, a banana and a pineapple. Just stew it. Lightly toss in the caramel, get a little knob of butter. That makes a nice toffee apple flavour. Really simple. Now, you can see what's happening. The apples are caramelising, but they're staying intact because the skin's on the apple. And the caramel's turned into this nice, rich butterscotch sauce. Once you've glazed all the apples, a couple of tablespoons of water in there. Bring that to the boil and let that cook out. Now, the eggs. 3 whole eggs. Whisk up the eggs. Add about 4 tablespoons of milk. You want the egg thick and rich. And then lightly sprinkle in a couple of tablespoons of sugar. That sweetens up the mixture. And when you start frying the bread, it caramelises it beautifully. A teaspoon of powdered cinnamon. That gives the bread that really nice, spicy deliciousness. Apples are glazing beautifully. And put them on a low heat and get a pan on now for the bread. A teaspoon of oil. That stops the butter from burning. Butter in. As that starts frothing, get your bread in. You've got to be pretty quick now. Now, you don't leave the bread soaking. Drain, and in the pan.
Once your egg bread has browned, flip it over.
90 seconds each side. That butter gives that nice golden brown colour of that egg. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. It's quite remarkable, isn't it? A couple of eggs, splash of milk, leftover apples, and all of a sudden you've got this stunning breakfast. Now, my apples, they've all glazed beautifully. Get a nice spoon of that amazing juice and drizzle that over. Wow. If my mum saw me doing this, she'd kill me. You're getting all posh again. No, Mum. I'm using a touch of iced sugar to make it look stunning. And that, for me, takes me back to when I was 6 years of age. And I thought I'd just won the lottery. That is incredible. Eggy bread.
You won't get more breakfast for your buck. My mum's incredibly delicious cinnamon eggy bread with quick stewed apples.